Hey everybody, in this video for my Soldiers of Stargrave series, I'll be discussing the Grenadier. Hey everybody, I'm Alan, with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, tabletop gaming with bricks and blocks and helping build your gameplay experience. Grenadiers in the game of Stargrave are soldiers trained with the use of grenade launchers and are able to cover the battlefield in smoke or rain down area effect damage from halfway across the table. In this video, I'll be discussing their stats and equipment, how grenades work, a Grenadier's job in your crew, some tips and strategies, and I'll give my opinion about them. So let's get to the bricks and blocks of Grenadiers in Stargrave. For their stats, they have a move of 5, fight plus 3, shoot plus 3, armor of 11, will plus 2, and 14 health. They carry a grenade launcher, a pistol, and a knife, and wear heavy armor. Hiring a Grenadier will cost you 100 credits, and they're specialist soldiers, so they'll fill up one of your 4 specialist slots. Whether you're throwing grenades or launching them through a grenade launcher, both methods work essentially the same in Stargrave. To start, you select a target point that's within range that can be reached via an arc from your figure. Grenades can be thrown up to 6 inches or launched up to 16 inches. The great thing about the target point is it doesn't have to be within line of sight. This allows you to toss grenades through open windows or fire them over walls and buildings. Once you've selected your target point, your figure makes a shoot roll, adding their shoot stat, against a target number of 12. And there's a special modifier table used with grenades, so the usual shooting modifier table is not used during this roll. The modifiers include a -1 for using a grenade launcher and a -1 for a hasty shot, but it gives a +2 bonus if you can see the target point. If you succeed with this shoot roll, your grenade lands at the intended target point. If you fail by more than 6, the grenade is a dud and does nothing. But if you fail by 1 to 6, the grenade explodes that many inches in a random direction from the target point, which can make for some pretty hilarious bounces at times. Any figure equipped with either grenades or a launcher are assumed to be carrying enough both smoke and fragmentation grenades to last the entire battle. When you decide you want to use a smoke grenade, when it explodes, it produces a smoke cloud 4 inches in diameter and 3 inches high that blocks line of sight, but has a 25% chance of dissipating at the end of each turn. And when you use a fragmentation grenade, any figure within 1.5 inches of the explosion site suffers a +3 shooting attack, and this is regardless of the attacking figure's shoot stat. Since the grenade is the source of the actual explosion, for this roll, normal shooting modifiers for intervening terrain or cover between it and the figure are applied, as is the modifier if the target is large. But the hasty shot modifier is never applied to this roll. The main role of the Grenadier depends on whether you favor smoke grenades or fragmentation grenades, and there's debate online about which of these is better. Smoke is really helpful if your opponent uses a lot of snipers, gunners, and troopers that like to find open lines of sight, as a smoky battlefield can render these soldiers useless. But since smoke clouds don't prevent fragmentation grenades or flamethrowers from firing into the area, they become less useful against players that use a lot of Grenadiers or burners. Fragmentation grenades fired from a grenade launcher can be extremely deadly. With a range of 16 inches and being able to fire over terrain, it means that runners hauling loot toward the outskirts of the battlefield, or squishy Mystic and Psionicist captains that think they're protected by a large solid wall, can become easy targets. And while Grenadiers will miss their intended target about 40 to 50% of the time, when they do land, the +3 shooting attack is decent and can easily stun or potentially kill a lightly armored foe. And if there happens to be multiple figures in the blast area, the effect can be devastating. If you like to use smoke grenades, a good strategy is to aim them at loot that you hope to open. Since being in smoke doesn't prevent the unlocking of loot, it's a good way to provide cover for your hackers and chiselers while they work their trade. However, smoke isn't quite as useful when fired directly at an opponent to block their view, as it's usually possible for them to maneuver around to a place unhindered by the cloud. If you want to make the best use of their Fragmentation Grenades, getting to the middle of the board allows their 16-inch range to target almost any point on the battlefield. And if you're playing on a smaller table, the reach becomes even more powerful, leaving nowhere for your enemy to hide. Something to keep in mind is if there's a single target you want to shoot at that's within 10 inches, using the Grenadier's pistol instead of a Fragmentation Grenade is a better choice, because you'll only have to make a single shooting attack roll, not the initial target point roll as well, meaning you'll be more likely to hit your target. Also, if you end up rolling a 1, you've only jammed your pistol, and your grenade launcher is still fully functional. And the Grenadier has a will stat of +2. This means they're not bad at unlocking loot in a pinch, and since they don't need line of sight to use their grenade launchers, they can still be effective at shooting while moving toward an out-of-the-way loot token. My overall opinion about Grenadiers is very high. I think using them to launch smoke grenades is helpful, but they become extremely powerful when launching Fragmentation Grenades. While these explosives aren't the most accurate, just the threat of being able to do area damage in places where you can't even see can force your opponent to keep their figures spread out, and can also intimidate officers to stay tucked into buildings or under overhanging terrain. And because of this, keeping a Grenadier in your crew is always a good choice. If you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss a video. And let me and the community know in the comments below your thoughts about Grenadiers in Stargrave. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.